Hello everyone, we are here with another Modern League. Today we're playing what I'm calling Control Ad Nauseam, and you might find that a little bit odd because the card Ad Nauseam is not in this deck. However, Ad Nauseam as a deck, currently the most stock lists are playing 0 to 1 copies of the namesake card. Ad Nauseam is used as a slower value card in order to find the pieces for the Thassa's Oracle Angels of Grace Spoils of the Vault combo. So we are a Oracle Grace Spoils combo deck, but instead of trying to turbo this combo as quickly as possible, we're looking to play a slower, more controlling, more grindier game utilizing the One Ring and a bunch of interaction. This is something that I was trying in my Blue Red Storm video, so feel free to check out my previous video for that approach, but applied to Red Storm, I think it was a pretty interesting idea. And here I'm trying that same sort of thing with Ad Nauseam. We're playing a mixed bag of interaction. You may see a lot of 3-ofs. This is a concession for me that this is not a tuned deck. It is something that is still a work in progress. As I get a little bit more information and potentially adjust things, then these should probably be shifted in amounts. But at the moment, like I said, it's just sort of trying out different cards and seeing which cards feel good and which cards don't quite feel as good. The sideboard is just an additional mix of interaction. The copies of Stern Scolding, a Damnation. I think the sideboard is a place where we could definitely get a little bit more ambitious, either with one of Profane Tutor targets or with a creature-focused plan, maybe some combination of Shieldred, Bowmasters, stuff like that, where we have a different plan of attack. One other thing worth noting is that we were running a fetchland mana base. The reason for this is Lorien Revealed. In order to have our blue count high enough to play Force of Negation, we basically need to be playing Lorien Revealed, and in order to be playing Lorien Revealed, we need to be playing lands that are fetchable with Revealed. So that's the idea. Let's get into a league and we can see how this goes. Before I do that, I just want to point out a couple things. One, I did try to record this live, and then I had some problems with my audio and the recording, so I'm back and doing this from a replay again. Stay tuned, though, if you're interested specifically in live input or live feedback or live recording, because that will be coming next time. Know I've done some of those in the past, but recently I've been operating off of replays, but I do want to get back to that. If you prefer the recordings, definitely let me know. I know some people do, and I think it might be just a slightly different taste or preference. There are some benefits to each with the recordings. You kind of get that ability to look at something from a new perspective and be like, well, that was a mistake, or, that was something I could have done slightly differently. Really sort of dig into some of that analysis, but with the live commentary you get the in the moment thought process that is leading to a certain decision, which can also be handy, sure. So the other thing I want to mention is if you're enjoying the videos, definitely feel free to like, subscribe, anything like that. That all helps out and is definitely appreciated. So with that in mind, let's get into the first match. So the first match here, we draw an opening hand that has 2 of our 3 combo pieces. It has a Thoughtseize and it has a copy of Ring. Now it is worth noting that we don't really have any cantrips, but I think it's reasonable for us to try to just draw some lands and work our way up to combo mana or the One Ring. Maybe the Thoughtseize can help us slow them down. Our opponent leads on Plains Aether Vial, revealing that they are Death and Taxes. We pick up a Fatal Push, which is good for our ability to kill a creature against what is going to be a creature deck. On our second turn here, we do go with the Thoughtseize, and sorry that clicked quickly. We go with the Thoughtseize because this Fatal Push will be relevant against something that they play, but maybe they empty their hand out. This Thoughtseize becomes less relevant. We take a Stoneforge Mystic seeing a hand of 2 Ghost Quarters, Bowmasters, and Giver of Runes. They don't have any black mana yet, although they will be eventually able to play this Bowmasters. But the Stoneforge represents the fastest clock, so I'm going to take that and then try to use this Fatal Push against the Bowmasters if they let me. Otherwise, just kill the Giver and hope to draw another piece of removal for the Bowmasters. Our opponent ticks up their Vial, plays a Ghost Quarter, and we're just going to play our island and pass. One thing to note is that we're running a snow-covered island. We're running as many one-ofs as we can, because we do have Opt, so if we scry anything to the bottom, especially a land, we could be in a situation where we spoils for a card that we know is on the bottom of our deck, and then we can win using Grace Oracle and the land that we play for. Like, use that land to play or. Okay, so our opponent just plays a Ghost Quarter. We continue to miss on land drops. We do go for a Fatal Push on the Giver, but they have picked up an Ephemerate, which is a little bit annoying. Draw Thoughtseize, which is also not what we need to do it, even though they will flash in the Bowmasters here to hopefully get their other card if it's something relevant. This is a Solitude, which is not particularly relevant. Again, we're just at the point of, missing our land drop there was pretty bad. I think we've missed 2 land drops in a row now. Our opponent hits with a Orc Army. We miss yet another land drop, and we're basically dead at this point. Give it a turn to see what they're going to do. I mean, yeah, they attack, they hit us to 6. And okay, we technically are not dead yet, but we're actively draw land. But even if we play the Oracle to block, pretty rough situation there. Excuse me. And what was I going to say? Yeah, playing the Oracle to block, they can give the Orc Army pro hit us down to 2. Or sorry, hit us down to 4. Missing a combo piece. Maybe we can draw like a shock land, but the problem is all of our basics are gone. So a fetch land would have to be fetch shock. So our mana base is just too painful at this point to realistically play the ring. And there's fringe, like one of runners that we could have had happen here, but it's so unlikely that I'm just in casual. I'm not about that too much. A more serious event, yes, I would play. Well, there is benefit to withholding the Oracle too, because at the moment we do sort of look like a control deck. So maybe they would sideboard differently or make some decisions based on that. Oracle reveals we are some sort of combo deck. No deck is just playing a fair Thassa's Oracle, and that might cause them to make different decisions. So let's see if we can pick up the second game. And in the second game, we first open on a hand that has no lands, so we have to mulligan that. Our 6 is better. We have a land and then a Lorien Revealed to act as our second land. We're bottoming the Thoughtseize and keeping the hard removal. That is a little bit more flexible against a creature deck. Thoughtseize, there's a chance we don't really line that up well, whereas we're almost certainly going to line the removal up well. Our opponent leads on a Giver of Runes, and we are going to have to kill that, so we do just go ahead and kill that now before playing our second Surveil land. One ring is good. It is something that we can use to find our missing combo pieces. And our opponent has another Giver of Runes. We'll cycle the Lorien Revealed to get another land. I'm getting the Hallowed Fountain here because if they have Ghost Quarters or ways to kill our lands, I do have a basic Swamp that I can go get if they attack our black mana, but I don't have a basic Plains if they attack our white mana. So it might seem a little bit weird that I want both of my white manas in play, but it's insulation against getting color screwed off of white. Yes, we are vulnerable if they just have double Ghost Quarter, but I'd rather be able to beat single Ghost Quarter and lose to double when they haven't showed one yet and they have 2 cards in their hand. Just potentially get screwed by single Ghost Quarter. So we are going to Prismatic Ending the Giver, just because we need to get rid of that before we can get rid of this Bowmasters. To give the Bowmasters protection, we don't play the Thassa's Oracle here because the Profane Tutor is going to come off Suspend and the Scry effect of the Oracle will be wasted. Our opponent plays Land and Arbiter, which is annoying because this Profane Tutor is now going to die. So we let the Profane Tutor go on the chance that we draw a land in order to play the One Ring. And we end up not drawing the land, but we do draw a Fatal Push, so we can kill the land in Arbiter, and now here we can play a Thassa's Oracle to try and find that 4th land for the one. If we had paid for the Profane Tutor and gotten a land, we'd just have 2 mana, and it feels like we'd be in maybe not the best spot there, because we're slowing ourselves down, so our ring is 2 turns away, and if they have more disruptive creatures that come down, that might just be too slow, especially that they're going to start Ghost Quartering us and stuff like that. So I would like in this spot to just risk getting, I think it was reasonable to just risk getting the One Ring in play on turn, well, this would swim in turn 5, but on the turn as soon as I could, even if it came at the expense of actually getting slowed down another turn if missed. But Fatal Push was a pretty decent draw if it wasn't going to be a land. This Thassa's Oracle holds back the Bowmasters, and we use the land that we found with the Oracle in order to play the One Ring. And now we can just kind of try to pull ahead. We'll draw right away. A 2-2 army versus 1-1 army is not a huge difference. Then we pick up a Fatal Push, which is perfect. We can push the Bowmasters and then start drawing cards with the ring. And we even Manamo for some extra draw before playing Talisman Preordain. In that spot, we could have chosen to play the Profane Tutor instead. I have my eye on winning next turn if possible, so the Profane Tutor in 2 turns I'm thinking is probably just slow. So I'd rather just develop more mana, which lets me Manamo the ring, and also use this Preordain in order to try to dig towards a Spoils. Attack with the Orc army, we will definitely block. Even if they have like another Bowmasters to kill our Oracle, we don't really care. So we have an Oracle in hand that we care about. Push the Bowmasters, and then we draw cards with the ring. We find our Spoils of the Vault, and that's going to be the game. Get rid of the Chalice because why not? Maybe they have some sort of like 1-drop thing that could be disruptive. I doubt it, but all right, and so we are 1-1 and on to match number 3. And by match number 3, I mean game number 3. I don't know why I feel like I always kind of mess those up at some point in a video. So our hand here has a couple Stern Scoldings. We are on the draw. Hopefully, if they have a turn 1 creature, we can just ending it and then start to use these Stern Scoldings to shut them down. We do need to find some way to pull ahead, aka we need to find the ring. Our opponent gets a tapped land on turn 1, so they didn't have a 1-drop, so we're not really behind on board right away. Fatal Push is an additional piece of removal, which I'm certainly happy to have, and we will just cash in this Scolding on a Stoneful Stick. I'm playing the Scalding Tarn next because now maybe I can play a Surveil and try to find the One Ring. Play an Arbiter, we'll Scolding that as well. We Surveil a Flooded Strand to the graveyard. We do not need another land, and yet we draw another land after that. We're going to play the Delta here because we can get our other Surveil land and try to keep digging. Our opponent has Sanctifier and Vec, which is, I think, a questionable choice. I mean, it is immune to Fatal Push, but I don't know. It's a Grizzly Bear. I'm excited about playing Grizzly Bear in Modern. It's a deck that can for. Our Thassa's Oracle, or sorry, our Undercity Sewers reveals a a Profane Tutor, which we will keep because even though it's a little bit slow, it does give us access to the ring, which is what we're looking for at this point. We'll kill the Sanctifier, but they have Ephemerate for it. Again, I'm just trying to keep creatures off the board as much as possible. But trade 1 for 1, and they have a Grizzly Bears in pile, so I'm not too worried about that. We have Fatal Push and Echoing Truth lined up for other things that they might play, such as a Bowmasters that they then flicker with Ephemerate in order to make the token big. The Ghost Quarter or Otawara, that feels like a slightly weird choice. I don't know why they wouldn't go after our Minamo. The Otawara is just a non-basic island. When it's in play, the Minamo has additional abilities. We Fatal Push the Bowmasters. Now we have an Echoing Truth for the army token, and then an Echoing Truth for whatever else might need it for. We do bounce the army token. Our opponent plays an Archon of Myriad. Here I think I make a... or no, I didn't. Yeah, so because I already played an Echoing Truth this turn, I can't play another Echoing Truth. And on my upkeep, I have a slightly awkward situation here where if I Echoing Truth the Archon in response, then I can't go get and play a One Ring. I'm 1 mana short unless I specifically top deck a land, which feels a little bit unlikely. So I'm just going to go ahead and grab the One Ring. Draw for turn, we draw Preordain. We're looking to, at the end step, maybe bounce this Archon and try to... well, actually, we probably don't need to bounce it anymore, even continuing to eat their way through our lands. Now they have Anointed Peacekeeper, which is very annoying because they can name the One Ring, and we have to Echoing Truth that, and we can't bounce the Archon. We do bounce it, we untap, we play the ring. Can't play this Preordain because of the Archon. So we draw a card. We do really need to find some removal. Oracle's like kind of okay. They do take us off white mana here, which is annoying. Then they can replay the Peacekeeper and stop our, well, and make us pay 2 for the ring. Draw Grace. We pay the 2 to draw for with the ring. And we pick up Watergrave Profane Tutor. The Profane Tutor is useless. The Watergrave is at least mana, but it's not exactly exciting. I'm forced to play the Thassa's Oracle here to block in order to try to stay alive. I can go to 1 if I block the Peacekeeper. We do see Damnation on top, which is nice. We have a thin chance, because if we next turn play Damnation, wipe their board, if we draw with the One Ring and find specifically Hallowed Fountain, we can play a tapped Hallowed Fountain at 1 life, and then we can Grace in response to our ring trigger next upkeep. Maybe we can win with that. So that's slim chance, but something that I'm going to try to do here. The other option there was to play the ring. No, we can't play the ring. So we can't play the ring because it costs 2 more because of the Peacekeeper. So had we been able to play the ring, we could have played the ring and then not used it, and then the next turn, Damnation. But because of the Peacekeeper, that didn't work. We draw, we don't end up drawing the Hallowed Fountain, and that is the game. So we are down a close game 1, or close match 1, and let's see if we can turn it around in the second. So in our second match here, we have a opening hand that again contains no lands, so we have to mulligan that. This has some cantrips and a combo piece. We'll keep that, get rid of one of the lands, we're very likely to find more. Our opponent leads on Hardened Scales, giving away that they are in fact playing the deck known as Hardened Scales. Pick up a land. We'll fetch a Hallowed Fountain. We will eventually need that white mana, hopefully. And we reveal 2 cards that aren't the One Ring, so we're going to just get rid of them. I would also have taken a Spoils or a Grace there, but The Profane, I think, is going to potentially be a little bit slow. No, it wasn't Profane. It was Thoughtseize and... Yeah, I would have kept Profane if it was Profane. But it was Thoughtseize and... Flurry Reveal. Play a Patchwork Automaton and then a Welding Jar. So I'm figuring we probably have 2 turns here. They'll grow the Automaton next turn, maybe 2 or 2-ish times, hit us for like 7, and turn after that we're dead. So we can play a Talisman, hold up this Opt. They have a Ravager, and growing the Patchwork. And then they skip their attack, so they made a little bit of a mistake there. Push isn't going to do anything because they have Ward on the Automaton and they have this Ravager. So I'm just going to bottom the push. Really, we need the Ring into drawing into the combo. Don't draw it. I'm just going to play this Talisman. I could try to play an Oracle to block, but I think it's unlikely to really work. And I'd rather actually not show them these Oracles. There's, again, a chance that they don't know that I'm on a combo deck. And basically we'd have to draw the Ring into like running perfects. So I think the odds of that are not that likely. So I'm not going to show the Oracle. Opponent has Ballista, Soul Cauldron, and that will certainly kill us. Either sack and put a bunch of stuff on the Automaton, or what they end up doing, hit us with both down to 5, use the Ballista up, and then use Soul Cauldron to give their ability to the Automaton. So they get the first game here, and we're again going to have to try to claw our way back. So the second game here, we open with a hand that has 1 land, and then a whole bunch of cards that are too expensive, so we ship that. This hand is looking better. We have a combo piece in Spoils. Profane can either be the Ring or another combo piece. Talisman for a little bit of acceleration. It is a little bit risky in that... Wait, do I not keep this? Oh no, yeah, I don't end up keeping that, because I don't have a blue source to play the Opt to try and find the land, so that just felt risky. So we're going to 5. Here we have at least a Snow-Covered Island and Opt. We also have a combo piece in Angel's Grace. Get rid of one of the Angel's Graces, and then the Profane Tutor. Try and use the Fatal Push and Damnation to slow them down as we hopefully hit lands, and then hopefully eventually draw into the One Ring. I feel like we've kind of mulliganed a lot this league, which is probably an indicator that our main deck needs a little bit of tweaking. So we Opt and we pick up a second land. Even though it is not a black mana land, I'm certainly still keeping it. We pick up another combo piece in Spoils, which is good. But we have to bottom the Ring here. We need mana. Specifically, we need black mana. So I don't have the time to just take a turn off to draw the Ring. Our opponent has a Walking Ballista and then an Ancient Stirrings. Pick up Thassa's Oracle, so now if we can find mana, we do just have the combo. The only thing really saving us at this point is that our opponent doesn't actually have a Hardened Scales. We do pick up a Water Grave, which is nice. We're going to play it tapped so that we can hold up this Fatal Push. Not using it now because they do have this Welding Jar. But maybe I can remove this construct from combat using push. So they end up getting a Haywire Might. And they play another Ancient Stirrings. I end up not using the push, just because if I don't draw a land, even if I had killed that, I'm still probably dead anyway. What was the thought process? I don't remember the thought process. I think it was that I need to... Yeah, so they Welding Jar it, but then I'm just dead anyway. So I need to draw a land, and then I can Damnation, and then whatever they replay, I can push potentially. Or, well, no, I'm just going to kill them. Yeah, so this push doesn't really matter. Either I'm going to draw a land and win, or I'm not, and this push doesn't make a difference. So I just don't play it. Draw an Oracle. That means that we can play an Oracle. Put a land to the top. block one of these constructs and then push the other construct to remove it from combat. So we can try to win here by stalling them. Play a Ravager. Play a Hanger back. So I block with the Oracle, but they sack that construct with the Ravager to counter on. I'm going to push the construct token. And so we're not taking any combat damage, and the spot that my opponent is now in is that if they sack everything to the Ravager, they put me to, well, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They could put me to 1. But they have to sack their entire board to do that. So we go to my turn, and now, because they passed to our turn, we have the ability to play this Angel's Grace. So I can play the Flooded Strand, and fetch, and as soon as we fetch, we're safe. Because now we just have Angel's Grace, even though they can put all their counters on the Ballista and bring us to 0, we're just going to. We have the Angel's Grace effect active, so we don't end up dying to get negative ever. They'll stack up their Ballista, they kill the Oracles, but that doesn't matter. And we pick up the second game. So we are 1-1, and will we get game number 3? So we have a pretty decent hand here. We have a removal and push. We have a Stern Scolding for maybe an Automaton on turn 2 or something like that. We have some lands, we have an Oracle, and we have the One Ring to try and find our other combo pieces. They lead on a Hardened Scales. We lead on a Polluted Delta. I'm holding up Stern Scolding here. So, and if they don't play something I have to Scolding or push, then I'm going to go ahead and fetch one of my tapped lands. I play an Urza's Saga and a Zabaz. I don't need to kill this right away, so I am going to get that Surveil value. And then next turn, I can play one of my lands untapped, push the Zabaz, and then again hold up Stern Scolding. If I had played the Talisman there, I do have the potential for turn 3 Ring, but I do just want to, again, take it slower and try to make sure that I can line this Scolding up with maybe an Automaton or a Ravager or something. So they have Hangerback Walker, maybe figuring that they would get through removal with that, but I am just going to go ahead and counter that. Now, the other reason maybe I don't want to play a turn 3 Ring is that they will certainly fetch Haywire Might and then kill the Ring if did that. And here, maybe they don't, because maybe they figure we don't have the Ring or something like that. We're going to Preordain. We'll keep this Stern Scolding and hold it up. I probably should have Preordained off of the Undercity Sewers because there's a chance I don't use this for blue mana. The opponent gets a Zabaz, plays a One Ring, which is interesting, but not something we necessarily care about. So we can play a One Ring of our own. We draw Spoils. We're going to Preordain, and we find Angel's Grace. Our opponent draws more cards with their copy of One Ring. Put a Ravager into play. And then they put a Ballista into play. They put a Zabaz into play, and they make a giant Ballista. But we do have Angel's Grace, so we're just fine. Doesn't matter how big they make this Ballista. I mean, yes, they can shoot us on our upkeep, but the key thing is that we already have Grace into play. So with Grace in response, they're going to shoot us down to 0. This is the right play from them because maybe I don't actually have the win this turn. So if I'm like using just the Grace to live the turn, then this way I die when I pass the turn if I don't specifically win this turn. Draw some cards first just because why not? Spoils to Oracle. They do go ahead and shoot us down to 42. Maybe why? Just because 42 is the answer to life, the universe, and everything. And then pick up the game. So we are 1-1 with control ad nauseam, and we are on to our third round. So in our third round, again, we have kind of a questionable hand here. We're on the draw. We do have 2 spoils, Gray's Profane Tutor, so if we can draw lands, we'll be in okay shape. But I don't choose to risk that one. I've been burned so many times by keeping risky one-landers that I'm not going to do it here. And so our opening hand here, we have some interaction. We have the One Ring. We have a combo piece. So this is totally fine. Sewers can help us try to find an additional land. Ship the Thoughtseize. I think it was a Thoughtseize. Figuring that push, pierce is maybe... Oh, yeah. I'm actually not sure about that. Maybe it's worth keeping Thoughtseize plus 1 of push or pierce. It's a more flexible option. So we pick up a second Grace. That's not the best. And we're going to scry with the Undercity Sewers. Surveil, I mean. Opponent surveils with Thundering Fall. Then they play a Wrenn and 6, picking back up their foothills. Preordain, that's good in that it can find us another land. We see spoils as well, so we are going to keep the spoils. So then we'll have Grace Spoils. We hold up Spell Pierce here. If we have to fetch, we will, but otherwise I would just take the spoils. But Teferi means that we need to use it, otherwise the Spell Pierce is going to be dead in our hand. It's worth noting that our opponent showing 3 mountains and then Wrenn and 6 and Teferi is almost certainly playing creativity. So now we end up picking up another land, which is nice because that means we'll be able to play the One Ring next turn. So we play tapped Watergrave. And so far we've only really showed control cards, so maybe 2 open mana might look like Counterspell or something to them, which is nice. I'm going to fetch here because maybe we need to use this Odawara to like bounce a, like next, let's say next turn they put an Archon into play and it doesn't do anything to us because the One Ring, then maybe we untap, we bounce it, and we go from there. Draw another One Ring, which is okay, I guess. The Dwarven Mine, they keep picking up lands. Worth noting that this Wrenn 6 is at 7. Preordain, we find the Thassa's Oracle. Push. We're just holding up Force of Negation here. They go for the Wrenn 6 emblem and then play another Wrenn 6. So we pick up a swamp. And then we again do not find a spoils. Play the swamp, we can preordain looking for a spoils. Bottom both of those. And we still don't find the spoils. So we suspend the Profane Tutor so that we're holding up double force. One hard casted and then one where we pitch an Oracle. Our opponent now has Retrace Bolt. So we're going to force a negation that so that the bolt gets exiled. Then they have second bolt, so they do get to bolt us again to 7. But now we can force a negation it. Now they have a reprieve in their graveyard. So we force it, reprieve their bolt, get to bolt us again. Bolt us again, putting us to 1. Then they run out of lands. So our Profane Tutor ticks down, but that's irrelevant. We have to Grace, otherwise we'll die to our One Ring trigger. So we get to draw with the Ring here, and if we can hit a Spoils, we win, and otherwise we're going to lose. And we don't hit a Spoils or even a cantrip where we could look for the Spoils. So we dug through half of our deck, found 0 Spoils. That feels a little bit unlucky, but sometimes that's how it goes. So we again are losing a game 1, and we're going to have to claw our way back. Let's see what happens. So we have a Leyline of Sanctity, as well as 3 lands and 2 of our combo pieces, Pact of Negation to help protect our combo, so I am going to go with this. Leyline is not as much for the Bolt, although it can be nice there. It's more so for the fact that Archon will get blanked by it. Get a tap land, and we do keep that Spell Pierce. It could shut down a Wrenn, it could shut down a Teferi. Although I don't think I fear Wrenn very much right now, because it just doesn't do anything on get back lands. Get another Surveil land. Angel's Grace is not what we need. Spoils. Pick up the 4th land, which is a piece of the puzzle. No, we're not playing 2 and a blue. Modern Storm Staple circa 2017 or 18 pieces of the puzzle. The Leyline Binding our Leyline of Sanctity, which I mean, I guess. Tap. Draw Spoils. So that's where our Spoils has been this whole time. It went from last game into this game, going up right on time for a protected turn 4 win. Our opponent has Reprieve. We'll go with Pact here. I think they're unlikely to have another 1 mana interaction piece, given the build of creativity that they showed themselves to be on. And they don't. So name the customary Simian Spirit Guide, and we are going to go for 3. Our hand here, again, we have some cantrips, we have a Spell Pierce, we have some lands, and an Oracle. It's definitely a keep. I did board the Leylines back out. I think if they're willing to Binding a Leyline, I'm not that interested in playing Leylines. Kind of just try and make their bindings bad. I mean, they can be okay against the Ring, but for the most part, not too worried. Pick up Force of Negation, which is okay. They strike it rich, which I'm not too concerned about. Pick up another land. That is something we eventually need. On turn 1, I fetched a Surveil land rather than use one of my cantrips, just to, again, sort of maximize my Surveil value. I find both Grace and Spoils, so we are all set up for a turn 4. And I'm going to hold up Spell Pierce here because I already know that the card on top, I already know I want the card on top, so I don't need opt. I don't need to opt. Our opponent goes for a Teferi, Spell Pierce. Additionally, holding this opt is Force of Negation food. We play a Polluted Delta. Our opponent plays a Mine. Go for the creativity. We're going to hardcast this Force Negation. And we go for the Watery Grave, and we have the combo. Alright, so a pair, I think it was back-to-back turn 4s following a losing game 1, so we were 0 for 3 in game 1s, but 2 for 3 in matches. Really been some grindy games, and I mean, I kind of expected a little bit more grind with, well, this game wasn't that grindy, but I don't know, these games feel hard fought a lot of the time, but maybe that's just how it is when you're playing Control. So, yeah. Alright, on to round number 4. So we have a fairly interactive hand here with the combo. We just need to find some lands. I'm on the draw, so I am going to go ahead and keep this. One thing worth noting here is that this deck is a little bit inspired by Legacy Doomsday in that we're trying to play a decent amount of interaction, but then also have the ability to fast combo. So that is also a Thassa's Oracle deck. I do enjoy Legacy Doomsday. There's a couple videos of that on my channel from like a little while back. They're probably a bit dated at this point. I probably will be revisiting Doomsday and some Legacy at some point in the future as well. Our opponent is playing Zoo, so they have a Nicodle, and in a tale as old as time, we are missing our land drop probably. So we kill the Kavu. That's a bigger threat than the Nicodle. It's a land drop. Opt. You find the land there. So then we can Thoughtseize. So I guess we didn't really miss our land drop, but we had to put all of our resources into it. We see another Nicodle and a Lightning Bolt. So the pressure is definitely on. We take the Nicodle, leaving Lightning Bolt, Leyline, and land. Just need to draw runner lands at this point. They put Gigantha into their hand, which is fairly low of threat. Don't draw a land. So we can Thoughtseize and take the Bolt to save a life, but it's not looking good. Auto puts us to 4. I mean, they really have nothing else going on. So they hardcast this Leyline. We need to draw land here. Don't. That's going to be the game. So yet another game number 1 loss. Rough. All right. On to game number 2. So our opening hand here, we have 2 combo pieces, a couple Lorien Revealed to get more lands, Talisman to accelerate, the One Ring. We'll definitely keep this. Opponent has a turn 1 Windswept Teeth, get an island, and then use our Lorien Revealed, getting a Hallowed Fountain. Our goal is to play turn 2 Talisman and then Lorien Revealed for another land. Our opponent has passed the turn. Oh wait, no, they played their turn 1. Okay, yeah, so this is the end of our turn 1. They get a Triome, so I would expect a Scion to be coming down next turn. They have all 5 colors, but it's a Kavu instead. At the end of their turn, we will use our Lorien Revealed to get another land. Here we can play One Ring, draw a Fatal Push, which is decent. Kavu, they loot. Put another Kavu into play. We draw the spoils. Push one of the Kavus. Hoping to maybe bait a counterspell, aka Stub, because that's the only counterspell that they would have. They might have Fluster, but Stub or Fluster. Go for it here. Note that we are Grace Spoils. Actually, against Zoo, I maybe should have gone Grace Spoils first and then keep the Oracle in my hand if they counter, because they don't really have the capability of countering the Oracle. They do have the capability of countering the Spoils, so it varies which direction you want to play sometimes there. They do have a Stub, but I mean, we have an active One Ring, we have more removal, so I still like our position. I'm going to put that Preordain on top, looking to just dig to another shot at the combo. Block, play another Kavu, and then play a Scion. Pick up Grace Spoils, which is good. Here, suspend Profane Tutor. Get that Oracle if we live till that point. And we're going to Echoing Truth, Kavus, and now I'm going to take a hit from this Scion. Need to weaken Grace if they have like a Tribal Flames or something. Play our Ragavan, which we are going to Stern Scolding. There's no allow that. Hit us with Scion. Play another Kavu. take a hit from the ring. Fetch before we draw with the ring, just to thin and try to improve our draws that way. I do keep Preordain on top because I have enough mana where I can use this Preordain to try to dig, potentially. Find a Spoils, which will do it because we have 5 mana, so we can Grace Spoils for Oracle, and then Spoils away the rest of our library, and then play the Oracle in order to win the game. So, we pick up the second game, and again, it is on to game number 3. So our 5th and final round, we are up against the Libertarian presidential candidate, Gary Johnson, from like 16 or so. I didn't know he played Magic Online. And our opening hand is decent. We've got Flooded Strand, just in case anyone doesn't realize that was a joke. But Flooded Strand, Lorien Revealed, Fatal Push. So we have some interaction, we have some lands, we have the One Ring, Profane Tutor. This hand is pretty solid. We can either get a tap land or push or Lorien Revealed as needed. Our opponent leads on Ragavan, and we are going to push that. Let Ragavan live. We pick up a Spell Pierce. We can fetch an untapped. Oh wait, no, we fetched a tap land. Yeah, so if they're on Sacred Foundry Ragavan, I probably don't need the Spell Pierce their turn 2 play. This could be maybe it's Zoo again. Maybe it is like Grinding Station or something like that. We don't have a turn 2 play. We pick up a 3rd land, and that's kind of perfect. We get to suspend this Profane Tutor and then hold up Spell Pierce. Our opponent dashes in a Ragavan. Wait, stop. Okay. Our opponent dashes in a Ragavan, which is definitely a little bit annoying. If we get a 4th land, though, we can just play the One Ring. Profane Tutor ticks down. Draw not a 4th land. Second One Ring is certainly not what we need there. Our opponent dashes Ragavan again. And then plays a Scion of Draco. Get a Spell Pierce of ours, so that's not something I'm too worried about. Now we're going to have to go get a land with this Profane Tutor in order to play the one. And we're going to need to find some of our other combo pieces pretty quickly. Maybe we can chain One Rings if needed. But they have Stub for the One Ring, so that's rough. Again, dash in Ragavan. Exile a Scalding Tarn, that's kind of whatever. Pick up another Opt. Just going to jam the One Ring. They have Leyline Binding for it, so we don't get to draw. It's a little bit annoying. I maybe should have not used the ring there. I should have just waited. It's not like I'm going to play something that turn, although there is a chance a land would have been nice, so it's not clear-cut, I think. Seize is not good. Do pick up Grace, that's something. Bottom that, looking for Spoils. Technically we're not dead to the Ragavan, but now we are. If I use my Grace, I can't draw out of this. So that's going to be the game. I guess, again, fringe case where I Grace, I top deck Ring, I play Ring, I draw. No, they hit me to 1. Yeah, they hit me to 1. I draw, untap, draw 2 more in response to the trigger, draw a Grace and a Spoils. It's possible. I could have also pacted this, But again, they would still be hitting me to. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. The odds there's very contrived, very low probability situations that get me there. But I think in this case, concealing the information. Okay, Profane Tutor maybe indicates that I'm not necessarily doing something fair. Although Coffers, I think, plays Profane, so I don't know if they still do. I think they used to, but I'd rather not show them like Oracle Grace, Pact of Negation if I can help it. Odds are so low, and I can potentially gain more than that back by concealing information. So we are 0 for 5 in games, but let's keep fighting. And this hand is pretty solid. We have a Thoughtseize, a Scolding, a couple lands, ring. Opponent reveals Jagantha. So we play a Delta. They go Heath and then lead on a Nicodle. We're just going to Scolding that. Here we have Thoughtseize, so we can take they had Stub, Sign of Draco. Sorry. They had Stub, Scion of Draco, a couple lands, Leyline Binding. So we take the Stub because they can't play the Scion next turn because it'll cost 2 mana if they have all 5 colors of mana, but if they get a Triome, then their land is tapped and they can't play the Scion. So I'm figuring I can hopefully line this other Scion up with this other Thoughtseize up with the Scion, and meanwhile I'll take the Stub first. So I play my Surveil land, keep a Preordain on top because now I can, on next turn, my goal is Thoughtseize and then Preordain into another land. I Thoughtseize first in case they like drew another Stub or something like that. You take the Scion, that's their clock. They do have 2 Leyline Bindings, which is a little bit annoying. I bottom the 2 looking for another land. This means the One Ring's really not going to be that good here. Getting Oracle is nice because now I do have Profane to go get Grace, and then I just have the natural combo. I don't need to worry about the One Ring. And then we get Grace, so maybe Profane is our next land. But we do need to find another land here. Opponent puts Jagantha to hand. Pick up Fatal Push, which is not really what their Kavu. Push it. Their hand is still 2 bindings, Jagantha, and I think 1 unknown. Go get a land with this Profane. Because I can't combo this turn, I'm going to go get the Undercity Sewers. Surveil will hopefully let me dig to another land. Get rid of the ring. Opponent plays a Kavu, and here on the end step, I can think about if I want to use Spoils to go try to find a Delta, which is our most common land. If we do, we can just win next turn. I don't really want to get hit by this Kavu and then have them be cycling cards, so I'm going to risk it here. We have 13 life and 3 Polluted Deltas, and 44 cards in our deck. Polluted Delta turns out to be on top of our deck, so I think our odds are decent there. Play this Polluted Delta. Search out a basic. And wait, why did I play a ring? Oh, in case they picked up a Stub, this kind of makes me immune for a turn. I don't know about this in hindsight. They only have 1 card I don't know. And yeah, I mean, this just gives them more chances to draw cards that yeah, I don't think that was good in hindsight. Gives them more chances to draw cards that can mess with me. I think I should have just gone for it there. But then they draw a land, they tap out to play their Jagantha. And now we're just in the clear. Exile our One Ring from our graveyard. And then we have bosses, spoils, brace. 1, 2, 3. All right, so it has all come down to one final game. Unfortunately, not fighting for the 5-0, but fighting for the coming back from a 0-5 game wins honor victory. I don't know if that made sense. It might have. It might not have. Let's see what happens. Okay, so opening hand, we have an opt to do a bit of filtering, finding another land. Our opponent has the turn 1 Leyline. We have removal in push. We have scolding. Also have Echoing Truth, which could be useful against... Well, it would have been useful against Scions if they didn't have Loyal. But they lead on Snow-Covered Plains. I don't know if I remember. I don't know if I said this earlier. I might have, but the reason we're playing the Snow-Covered Island and then a regular island, we're just playing as many one-of lands as we possibly can to maximize maybe scrying something to the bottom with opt and then spoilsing to that specific card in a way to, let's say we have 3 lands, we can grace spoils for a land that's on the bottom of our deck, get that land, play it as land for turn, and then use our 1 remaining land plus the land we just played to play Oracle. So that does require sort of consciously keeping track of what you put on the bottom of your deck with opt. Just going to pass the turn here. Oh, end of their turn. Yeah, so they passed the turn. They missed their second land drop. So I'm thinking that they have like a very explosive hand if they get a second land out. And so that's why they kept this. We, Lorien revealed getting an Undercity Sewers. This can hopefully help us find another land drop and hold up Stern Scolding, and if we don't need it, then we can get an opt. Prismatic Ending I'm going to get rid of here. We need to just find Ithos's Oracle. Opponent misses their land drop. We opt and take this Preordain. Again, we're still just looking for Oracle. Get the Scryland. Talisman's not something we need. Preordain, I looked a little bit too quickly, sorry. It's not the Oracle, so we are just skipping past that. Our opponent hits their second land. Expecting Scion to come down. Instead, it's Chalice. You pick up the Oracle here. We have Echoing Truth for the Chalice, so we're going to suspend Profane just in case we eventually need it or if something goes wrong. And we just hold up the ability to end step Echoing Truth. Hopefully they tap out for like a Scion. That's the goal. They do. And they play a Chalice 0. Echoing Truth gets rid of the Chalices. And we have the combo. Oracle, Grace, and Spoils. 1, 2, 3. So that was a pretty nice 4-1. We had some funny things happen. I mean, we definitely leveraged a lot of our interaction. I feel like the One Ring was very good for us. Our interaction was very good for us. We had some fast wins, turn 4, where we just sort of naturally had the pieces, but then we had some slower wins where we had to really grind a little bit. I think that the deck is doing some good things. That being said, understand that this is a rough draft, right? And I think one place that I definitely felt some weakness was in, well, I actually don't necessarily know that it needs lands, because plenty of games we did just have plenty of lands. So I'm sort of maybe thinking that some of that is just me needing slightly better mulligan discipline, or maybe like a couple more cantrips as like pseudo lands could be useful. Not entirely sure what I think about that yet. I think Force of Negation is not necessarily needed in the main deck. I think this could probably be sideboarded, and then we can play some other type of interaction in the main deck. Do we want the 4th Profane? Maybe not. Do I want the 4th Opt? Probably. I could think about Stern Scolding in the main deck. I brought it in, I think, in 4 out of 5 matches. So deck is interesting. I would definitely like to hear about it if any of you guys try this out or try out something similar. What are your results? What's going on with it? I think it is an interesting take on Ad Nauseam, and the One Ring is really very powerful. So we're just basically trying to play that. All right. Until next time. Well, next time, what will next time's video be? Probably Twiddle Storm again, although I'm not 100% sure on that. I'll be trying some other stuff out. Hopefully, I will have that be a live, while I'm playing, record next time. I know there's actually, let me know if you prefer one form or the other, because I mean, the from the replays, the video is faster, so you can kind of get through it faster, and maybe I know you probably have limited time or something like that, so I don't want to take up 2 hours of people's time. You can skip or watch faster if you want, but whatever. So the video's faster. We get to do some of that analysis after the fact, which is nice, but at the same time, you're not getting my thoughts in the moment. So there's definitely pros and cons of each. I'll probably do a little bit of each going forward, but let me know if you have a strong preference for one or other. In the meantime, definitely throw a like, subscribe if you're interested in more combo deck content, because that's what we're doing. We're playing and iterating on decks. Legacy probably coming at some point in the future. I do have some older videos on it if you go back and check those out. But yeah, until next time, keep generate. Bye.